race human, race all human. Today is Thursday, May 5th, 2022. Again, points that Democrats need to make to the American public in order to save democracy.
We'll be here with his charts to sift through the implications of this raise by the Fed. But first, let's bring in member of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein. Jared, it's good to see you this morning. Your reaction to the Fed move here, is that an appropriate half-point lift of the rate, and what is the impact on the economy?
Well, the president said weeks ago when he was actually nominating Chair Powell for another term that he supported this pivot to tighter monetary policy. You know, the Fed is, of course, the first and foremost inflation-fighting institution we have. And I was just listening to your playing Powell's comments yesterday. They're very much in sync with what the president's talking about. Every time he talks about the economy, he talks about the challenge that this elevated inflation poses to family budgets. He also talks about what we're doing to try to help, which is, of course, essential, whether it's our work on supply chains, on shipping, on trucking, on trying to clear out some of those snarls, whether it's trying to make energy prices come down with his historically significant release of oil from our strategic reserves, lowering prescription drug costs, healthcare premiums. We have a very active agenda in that space as well.
Hey, Jared, good morning. It's Jonathan Lemire. Great to see you again. Obviously, some of these inflationary concerns existed before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, but the two G's that we keep talking about, groceries and gasoline, are directly impacted by that war. Fuel prices go up, price of food also gone up. This war, U.S. officials believe, could last months, if not years. How can you tame those price concerns over that long of a time?
Well, it's by doing precisely the kind of things that I just ticked through, but also, of course, the work of the Federal Reserve is so important here. Look, you're absolutely right. When it comes to commodity prices in general, of course, food and energy, Putin's unprovoked invasion is very much in the mix. We talk about energy and gas prices, but we also have to look at metals, at fertilizer, at so many components that come out of that part of the world. And so it's key for us to do all we can to reshuffle available supplies to make sure that we're doing everything to try to help ease those pressures. Now, take energy, for example. I mentioned the release from the Strategic Reserve, but the president also worked with our allies to add another 60 million barrels to that release. I don't think that's been quite as reported. So we're talking about 240 million barrels from the Strategic Reserves. That is a temporary measure, but it's a very important bridge to get us to where we need to go. But also, obviously, our renewable agenda to take our nation, but also every other nation that's been affected by this. Europeans are much more exposed to these commodity and energy pressures, to move towards renewable energy sources that not just are helpful to the environment, but also geopolitically sound policy at this point.
All right, Jared Bernstein, member of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisors. Thank you so much for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it. With us now, former Treasurer.
We need to continue to explain this to the American public. In addition, to remind them how COVID-19 has affected the economy and how the American Rescue Plan has helped to save the economy, and the child tax credits, and so many things that the Biden administration has done. You have to remind the American public. Thank you for being on my YouTube channel, One Race, Human Race, All Human. Today is Thursday, May 5th.